A mid-season SIAC matchup. It's North and Castle coming up next.
High school football on WB19 is brought to you in part by Rabin Tire, Flanders Electric, Sheer Sensations, Exterior Solutions, JoJo's Bakery and Restaurant, Davis Rentals, Gators Hot Fish House, and by Tornado Tire.
Paradise, Indiana. I get alongside Pete Hillebrand. I'm Darren Smith. We welcome you to our high school football game of the week as the undefeated Castle Knights hope to stay that way, but a stern test tonight against these North Huskies, Pete.
Boy, it will be a great one, and I just can't wait to see this one get started. You know, Coach Leidy told us about how much he enjoys the electricity of the college football scene when he gets to see his two sons, Alan and Vince, play on the weekends. You come up to Castle High School, and there is a lot of electricity here in Paradise tonight, and it is a great experience. Some of it is brought in from the north side of Evansville, and the guys in green. So we're set for a great one. Castle won the toss, and they'll receive it right away. So we'll get a look at Indiana-bound Carl Hill right off the bat.
Castle in the home blue, the North Huskies in the visiting white. And for our second Saturday afternoon in a row, we are underway. First touch for the Castle Knights, a pretty good one in Casey Elkins. That is the younger brother of Bryant Elkins, and of course, Andy Elkins, who played for UE.
A different color uniform for this Elkins in the blue and gold of the Castle Knights. Castle starting out on offense. Your center is John Lene, Ryan Montgomery, the left guard, and right guard is Jason Williams. The tackles, Tim Rogers and Ben Nicholson. Zach Lair is your tight end. Ryan Agursti, your split end. Your flanker is Levon Clements. Carl Hill, the tailback, running behind big Kevin Fox, your fullback, and Rusty Bargo is your quarterback, and we'll set the North defense after our first look at Carl.
On the 33, it begins here for the Castle Knights, a team that's been eating it up on the ground, a team that's been averaging in the neighborhood of 272 yards a week. They'll pick up about 4 on that last one.
The first give is to Kevin Fox, actually, for 6. But defensively for the Huskies, Jared Porter and Antonio Johnson, your tackles. Mike Elliott and David Shirley, the ends. The inside linebackers are Jacob Metz and Jacob Board. The outside backers, Mike Gregory and Randy Shearer. Dorenzo Bushrod and Antonio Madison, your corners, and Mike Miller is your safety.
About halfway home on the 38 here, and a lot of ground game, as it's been the year after year for John Leidy's bunch. Carl Hill crosses the 40. We get our first look at the IU-bound senior.
Well, he just bashes it right up the middle, doesn't he? And one thing that just doesn't change here at Castle High School, and why should it, is that straight ahead, run it at you, kind of the smoke 'em if you got 'em type of an offense, because hey, here's our best. It's coming right up the middle, right at you. Let's see if you can stop it. And they have really perfected that kind of a game.
This is 3rd and a long 2 for the Castle Knights here in the opening minutes of our high school football game of the week. Rusty Bargo again, the quarterback. Carl Hill, the more than capable running back. But you've got others there. You talk about Kevin Fox. He has 211 yards on 33 carries coming into this game. Close to a first down, but he did not get there.
Jacob Board made the stop in the backfield, or at least for no gain for the big fullback. So Jacob comes in from his inside linebacking position and makes a big stop of a very talented fullback.
Jacob Board 5'7", but a very impressive 215 pounds, and so Castle will get rid of it. They go 3 and out, uncharacteristic for the Knights. And 2 backed up for the North Huskies. Brandon Ragland shook a couple and got out to the 25.
The Husky offense will start at their own 25. Jared, let's get the offense up here. Jacob Board is your center. The guards are Mike Elliott and Jason Hawkins. Jared Porter, David Shirley, the tackles. The tight end is Alan Collins. John Grimmer, the single-season receiving leader from a year ago at North, returns, and he's your split end tonight. Brandon Ragland and Randy is the flanker. Randy Shearer, the fullback. Dorenzo Bushrod, the tailback, and Kelmaine Dixon is your QB.
He's thrown 440 yards in the first month of the season, 3 TDs. He's also thrown 3 interceptions. So the Huskies begin here on their own 25. There's 9:45 here to go in the opening quarter. Had to unload in a hurry. Found one of his favorite targets in Dorenzo Bushrod. That's the first down to midfield.
That one goes for about 25 to Dorenzo, and a great start for the Huskies to run that little outside screen pass, a little flat pass against a Castle blitz. They brought the linebackers that time, and that just caters right to that type of a play. So a nice break for the Huskies starting out, and a tough start for Castle, who are very, very tough with their blitzing, and North will see a lot of that tonight.
1st and 10 from their own 48. The flat pass here goes to Ragland, who almost went nowhere, but he shook him off. They'll pick up another first down this way and taken out at the 32. A nice tackle that time by Brandon Taylor, one of the top defensive players for Castle this year. He was almost out of here.
Boy, and that's very frustrating. If you're Levon Clements, Levon is one of the toughest tacklers coming on a corner blitz that time, and he just planted Ragland that time, and he couldn't believe that he missed that tackle on Brandon. That was quite a hit by Levon.
2 plays, about 40 yards for the Huskies. Here's 1st and 10 now from the Castle 34, and they'll mix it up nicely. Dorenzo Bushrod is your top rusher this year for the North Huskies. Came into the game with 324 yards on 41 carries. He also has 5 TDs. He's your leading scorer.
Well, one of the big question marks was where would the heads of the Huskies be after a couple of tough ball games the last 2 weeks? Well, they've shown it with their first few plays from scrimmage offensively. Now they're really coming out with some fire right now.
4th play of the drive, but pretty good field position down to the 30. This is 2nd down and 6 for the Huskies. Try to forget about at least the second half of last week's game against the Mater Dei Wildcats. Dixon is back to pass. Pass intended to the outside for Randy Shearer. Uses the part-time receiver. Randy's best game, though, is on the ground. Give him that ball early. Give it to him behind the line of scrimmage. He takes off.
Well, he's a tough one when he gets his hands on the ball. They tried to give him about a 10-yard head start that time with that pass. He was led out there and just couldn't quite hang on to it. But good defensive pressure that time from your end. David Sampson charging hard. Kelmaine Dixon.
Multi-talented Sampson, as you saw earlier. He is also the punter. This is 3rd and 6. Here's the first carry for Antonio Madison inside the 15.
Well, about a 15-yard carry for Antonio, and that just really froze the defense that time. They ran the play action fake and then the pass on the previous play, and they really saw something that they liked in the Castle middle, and that time they ran with the draw play up the middle, and it turned out to be wide open. So some really nifty play calling in this first possession for the North Huskies. And right now, after the way things have gone the last couple weeks, Coach Wilson and company looking for a finish right here from about the 12.
He's confident coming in from the 12, 1st and 10, as they break the 10-yard line to about the 9. This will bring up 3rd down in about 7.
Carl Hill with the stop that time, really initiated the stop. He was coming on a middle linebacker blitz. Got a hand on him in the backfield.
So 2nd and 7 here for the Huskies. Lost last week 48-16, and the coaches say, yeah, it's a game we'd like to forget. But if we can bounce back at Castle, it doesn't spring new life into your season, because your season's already going pretty well at 2-2 with the schedule they've played. That time it didn't work. Going nowhere, Kelmaine Dixon, and just swarm of blue jerseys in front of him.
I think Kelmaine was surprised as anybody that time. I think they had some cross signals in there. He looked like he was looking to hand the ball off. It didn't look like a straight bootleg unless he's an actor, and you did a good job if he is, but I think he was looking for something that wasn't there that time.
It's going to bring up 3rd and 8. Amongst those in on the tackle, a sophomore that John Leidy is very high on, a 240-pound 6'5" sophomore, Andrew Burke. Keep your eye on 72 tonight for the Castle Knights. 4-down territory. They've been some movement there. They're going to the end zone looking for receiver number 1. That is John Grimmer, and it brings up 4th and 8. I don't see any flags, but I thought I saw early movement. No.
Yeah, it looked like I thought we would see our first yellow that time on either side, and it was clean. And 4th down, and the ball's just inside the 10-yard line. We've seen a nice kicking game from just about all the high schools that we've had in our coverage this season. So 4th and 7 against probably the toughest red zone defense.
Yeah,
close to the state, I would imagine. These guys,
year after year, sure.
Oh, definitely. I think that we will see them go for some points on the board here. But I haven't been hitting those calls much this season. I'd like to see the 3 go up. But my percentages on those decisions are not very high.
Well, certainly, you stop Castle 3 and out. Rarely do you do that here at Castle Stadium. Certainly that has not been the case this year in '99. The team's 4-0. You want to come away with some points here, I think, Pete. And I would say they kick it. And it appears I would guess wrong.
We both missed that one.
So going for it on 4th and 7. It's inside the 10, right there on the 9. Dixon, hands off. There's the first down. There's the first points of the game. Touchdown, Dorenzo Bushrod.
Well, they ran the draw play that was so successful about 4 plays ago. It was the play that got them down there. And that time it was a little bit more work for Dorenzo, but nice little 9-yard dance. And an early wake-up call. That that's a tall order. And these Huskies have been impressing week in and week out. But you know what? We talked to several of their coaches today, including Mike Wilson. The one thing they all had in common, we need to have 4 quarters of football tonight.
Matt Becker with the point after for the North Huskies. And it is 7-0 as we keep it here. And we've already had the Huskies on once this year, Pete. Not just because they scored, but that's the most impressive drive I've seen now in 4+ quarters out of North.
Well, what they want to try to do tonight is take advantage of the speed that they have. And Castle has a quick secondary, but North is very, very speedy on offense. And they managed to do that with a couple of breaks that time. That game-opening screenplay, or their first possession screenplay, they really caught a break with the defense that was thrown at them. That made that play work. From then on, they've been freezing up that defense. That was a very impressive drive against a legitimate defense.
So the Huskies strike first against the Castle Knights. Castle coming off a 21-7 win over Jeremy Fayrow and the Central Bears. 2 weeks ago, they'd win at Boise. They beat Boonville handily. And then redemption as they beat Jeffersonville in the first game of the regular season. That was their last game of the 1998 season. Both these two teams have one thing in common. They both lose to the unlikely Jeffersonville Red Devils in the postseason.
And that is not a thing that coaches like to have in common.
Well, the unlikely sectional champ from a season ago. North, as you know, has dropped down to 4A. So the Knights will try again. Little bobble that time, but holding on. That's Kelly Miller. Brings the ball out to around the 36. Castle Knights will begin here.
Looking forward to taking a look at the Knights in their second possession. They'll spend a lot of time studying a defense and almost play a chess type of a game. And they'll make their move at any point that they find something they can exploit. It's a very tactful defense, very tactical, and on an offense rather, and just very much fun to watch.
Begins on the 37 for Rusty Bargo and company. And here's Carl Hill, the heralded Carl Hill, out to the 41.
They try to work Carl outside that time, and I tell you what, I would not like to be a linebacker and come in and play Castle with Carl Hill and Kevin Fox in the backfield. Not only are they both punishing runners, but you've got to make a tackle on Carl Hill. First, you have to get around Kevin Fox.
Yeah.
Oh, just wicked.
Carl Hill already has 500 yards coming into week number 5. He had 1,700 a season ago. Second down and 6 for the Castle Knights. Rusty Bargo amongst some more mobile quarterbacks in the SIAC, but not this time. Antonio Madison, a little help and a push from his friend Antonio Johnson, who's a very strong kid, by the way.
Well, this is probably, well, I would say without question, the quickest defense that Castle's faced this year, and it'll really be a tough test. Rusty has been used to really totaling up some yards in his running, and it's just, I think they're going to be off to a little slower start than they're used to because North is so quick, and they'll have to do a lot of feeling out and figuring out how to get them. Once they realize it's not going to be easy tonight, then we'll see things change.
Carl Hill averaging 6.5 yards a carry. He picks up about 7 that time, but it's going to be short of a first down, but not by a whole lot.
I'm sorry, Darren. Carl is a guy that runs with the attitude that it's not going to be easy, and I think that's what has made him so successful here at Castle High School. He makes every tackle be legitimate. You know, you don't get a cheap one to get Carl down.
This is short, but not by a whole lot, and they'll come out and measure it. With 5:10 here left to play in the first quarter. And it's not short by a whole lot, as you see there.
Yeah, it's tough to say that it's 4-down territory right here, but I think for Castle, I think it is.
Well,
you know,
Carl
they
Hill
have
and
the
Kevin
tools,
Fox and Bargo can get you this quarter of a yard here.
So they're talking it over, and I don't believe there's any question.
Well, you and I are 0 for 1 tonight.
Well, we have Ryan Agursky and Rusty Bargo over there talking things over with Coach Leidy, so there was no question about it. It's not what, do we kick it or snap it and run a play? It's what play do we run? Great football mindset here at Castle.
Well, they need less than half a yard to keep this alive. Here on the 46. Keeper by Bargo. That should be a first down unless he really gets a bad spot.
I tell you what, I think that he made it. It wasn't by much, and he made that one on determination. And he kind of got stood up. You know, he ran into the line, got his shoulders down a little bit, but as soon as he hit the line, he was kind of popped up, and it's hard to keep your momentum going forward when you're straight up there. And what a fine play by Rusty Bargo that time to come up with that first down.
Dial it down says first down. 1st and 10 here from the 48 for the Castle Knights. 7-0 North if you're just joining us here on our game of the week on a Saturday afternoon. Carl Hill. He tripped himself up and got back to the line of scrimmage. Not that there was a whole lot of room to move anyway. One person you're going to get by is Antonio Johnson, who we told you last time is back playing football for the first time since his freshman year.
You know, I think he was busy lifting weights through his sophomore year when he wasn't playing football. We had, we talked with Coach Wilson about him before. Well, he runs a 5.040, but on top of that, squats 575 pounds, benches 350. But, you know, there's a lot of guys at Castle that probably says, that all you got?
Carl Hill, about 4 that time. Bringed up 3rd down and 6. Initial hit. Jacob Metz, defensive leader. 21 solo tackles in the first month of the season, Jacob Metz.
You know, we didn't get a chance to talk with Coach Leidy about their weight program this year and who some of the leaders are in those categories, and I apologize for that because those guys deserve the recognition that they get because they can hit pretty hard. I don't want them coming after me, but you know, they always year in and year out have an impressive weightlifting program up here, and that's why this style of football is so successful for them.
3rd and 6. Carl Hill, first flag of the night. And if it holds up, a first down.
Yeah, they came back in the defensive secondary. Probably saw a hold in there near the line of scrimmage, and that's what the call is.
It's coming back.
An impressive run that time by Hill brought back. Just a straight ahead bust.
Penalties really not a problem for either one of these two teams. Things considered the first month of the season. Castle's just been penalized in the first 4 weeks just 15 times for about 130 yards.
Well, it's a senior-dominated football club, and that's what that'll get you. You know, you don't make a lot of those types of mistakes when you're seniors, and I think Coach Leidy is very happy with his crew this year.
So replay 3rd down. 3rd and long as they backed up all the way to the 43. Becomes 3rd down and 14.
Boy, now it's a tough one. They have some very capable receivers, and they use Ryan Agursky quite a bit when they do go to the air. Zach Lair, Levon Clements will come out of the slot and catch some passes as we see him go in motion right as Rusty Bargo decides to take a TO.
Castle takes a timeout with 2:43 here left to play, and today's first quarter, 32-8 a season ago. Castle winning this game handily. It was a pretty good season for the Castle Knights until they reached the post, and again, an unexpected loss to Jeffersonville. We were out here last year in that great game against the Harrison Warriors, although Harrison prevailed that night. It's a Castle team you knew at the top of the season, Pete, that was going to be in the thick of things. And right now, heading into this game, they were one of 3 undefeated teams in the Southern Indiana Athletic Conference.
And North very much aware of that. I think North feels like they could be among those undefeateds. That Harrison game that they fought out with the Warriors really was decided on a touchdown that came from a turnover inside the 5, I believe it was. Right. The Warriors had the ball at the 4, and those are tough to take. But that's the thing that as a coach you can say, look, you guys, it was a bad break. The turnovers cost us. And cost us the game, and that gives you a lot of bargaining power. And as your kids progress and learn and grow, mature with experience, you don't see those things happen much anymore.
See, the timeout pays off for John Leidy. He knows his football. 27th year as the head coach of the Castle Knights. Last week, he picked up career coaching victory, 175. 3rd and 14, Carl Hill, a tall order. Nope, they faked that handoff. It went downfield, and it's batted away by Antonio Madison, and they're going to say pass interference. Pass intended for Ryan Agursky. I was fooled because I thought Carl Hill snuck up the middle. So did North.
Well, when you have a great runner like that, he is valuable every snap of the football, and that time they play off him. I thought that was pretty good defense that time. There no doubt was a lot of contact on that, so that'll draw the flag in high school football. But boy, that was hand-to-hand combat on that play, and Ryan Agursky really battled him, just about came down with that football.
So you move this up, and unlike the NFL, it's not a spot foul. And in this case, it's enough for a first down.
North's first penalty of the ball game is one that can be capitalized on as Castle keeps a hold of the football and moves it into North territory on the penalty.
1st and 10 from the 42. 2:35 left. Opening stanza tonight from Castle Stadium. As we watch it back on this Saturday afternoon. This is Carl Hill. 112 yards last week. Hill's halfway home. Bring up 2nd down and 5. A tough one to take down. The Huskies have several of those. Initial hit belongs again to Jacob Metz. He almost had a big interception last week. Jake Schiff threw it right to the numbers. He just couldn't hold on. But Jacob Metz brings so much to this defensive unit for the Huskies.
Well, he's definitely on the mind of Carl Hill. Dorenzo Bushrod and Antonio Madison in there also on the stop. But he's a big one to have to run around. Also Michael Elliott in there, the sophomore, that has so much experience already. Very tough on defense to get around.
Clements in motion, 2nd and 5 here for the Knights. This team does a pretty good job of hiding the ball. I've been fooled twice. Kevin Fox knew what he was doing all along. That's another Castle first down. They're inside the 30.
Boy, it's a Castle coming at you first down. That one just off to the left side. They're going to throw it out there, and you're going to have to stop it. And they seem to always get stronger as the game goes on, and really wear on a defense.
Just inside the 30 for the Knights. This is the first carry for John Haller. And Haller picks up a couple. Haller's averaging 6 yards a carry. He has 163 yards on 27 carries coming in. And, playing behind players like Carl Hill and Kevin Fox, John Haller's going to get, his looks. He's just a junior.
Well, I tell you what, he's glad that he's just a junior, because a senior on this team behind those two guys, well, you'll probably get the letter, but that is just an impossible backfield to break into. And Haller getting some catches, and Leidy doing a good job of bringing him up.
Yeah, he had 9 carries last week for 72 yards. Bargo, I don't know if this is a broken play or not. It's not working for Rusty. He's taken back for a loss this time, back to the 31.
Well, I think what I just saw was the right side of the Husky defense breaking down a bootleg. Bargo had more trouble with his linemen than he did with North's defense in the direct contact of things. I think there was a fake handoff and a bootleg left, and North's defensive right had penetrated so deep into the backfield that they busted that play up.
It brings to an end our first quarter, and this one so far belongs to the Huskies, but here comes Castle, 3rd and 11 when we come back. High school football's game of the week from Paradise, Indiana on WB 19.
Listen up. Remember this name, Exterior Solutions.
Right now, Pete, he's sitting down right around the 50-yard line.
Well, they have the jersey off of the tailback now. Checking out his shoulder, it looks like his left shoulder.
I hope this is nothing or just a bruise. Here's Kelmaine Dixon. Intercepted. Right place, right time. Brandon Taylor.
Boy, good pressure that time by Ben Nicholson on Kelmaine. And Kelmaine got outside of Ben. But great defensive coverage downfield, and the Knights, what they gave away, they took right back.
That is 2 interceptions in 2 weeks now for Brandon Taylor, as he had a 31-yard return last week against the Central Bears.
That's a big one. They really don't lose much in field position, and they have a first down, so quite an interesting turnaround here for the Knights.
You can't see it, but they're icing the shoulder of Carl Hill as we speak.
Bargo keeps that one and goes right up the middle with some authority. He's a hard-nosed runner.
Picks up about 7. Bring up second down close to 3. In the opening minute of our second quarter, 7-0 North. Turnover on each side in the opening 40 seconds. And Carl Hill right now on the bench. On the 31. Pretty good understudy cast, we said. John Haller has his biggest gain. Taken out inside the 20. The tackle belongs to Dorenzo Bushrod. He may have saved 6.
I wonder what kind of a camera shot we have of John Haller running out of the backfield. That was an interesting run. Just really on a mission to get to the outside of a very quick North Husky defense. I don't think I have seen anybody run with quite that much determination. That was fun to watch that time, watching John try to beat the guys in green to a spot, turn the corner, and he did just that. That's very impressive.
Using Haller and Kevin Fox right now behind Bargo from the I. From the 20, 1st and 10. There's Haller to the 15. So he's halfway home and second down and 5.
17 yards in this drive for John Haller, and he's looking very impressive. He has something to prove. You know, he wants to show the fans, hey, I'm capable back here.
Here I am, yeah.
In a couple of carries, I'm a believer.
5'9", 160-pound junior. 2nd and 5. Bargo, like I said, one of the more mobile quarterbacks in the SIAC. Right now, it's been Haller's drive as he gets close to the 10 and close to a first down.
And they get the ball just across the 10, and it should be good enough for a first down. But he's a little short of that, where they have him about the 13, it looks like. So 3rd and a long 3.
Well, the report on Hill, it is his shoulder. We don't know how serious it is. His jersey's off. He's bandaged up with ice right on the shoulder. We'll try to find out more. This is 3rd and about 3 in 4-down territory. Fox to the 10, and it should be enough for a first down.
He reached the ball out there. We'll see if he got it in time. Not quite. They spotted the nose right at the 10, and that'll be short. I don't know. I think it's another question of what play do we run here. No question about the Knights going for it here. 4th and short. But boy, you can bet Carl Hill wants to be in there, and really hope that he's all right over there on the sidelines.
This is the second time we're looking at 4th and about a half a yard now for the Knights. Need to get on the other side of that 10. Fox has the first down. 43 yards last week, just on 9 carries. They'll also use him as a part-time receiver.
Well, he earned that first down right there, and really, I think he earned the first down on the last play. I mean, obviously, he didn't make it, but what I mean by that is he was stuck at the line of scrimmage and just bowled his way through there to get the ball to the 10-yard line on the last possession, and that set this one up.
This is the first down. They're going to measure it, but this is the first down. Not by a lot.
By a Kevin Fox. That's quite a lot. That's a big first down. There's not much denying a really good fullback. And Kevin Fox certainly fits that description.
It's a team last year that lost some ground game. Certainly Chris Matthews, your fullback. Gilchrist, he was mobile. Remember him from a season ago.
And we got to see Fox run the ball quite a bit last year. We knew what was coming in him. But Matthews, yeah.
Bargo keeps. Touchdown.
Boy, now that time they fooled the North defense. You know, they've had some success fooling us, but that won't get you any points on the board. That time they fooled the ones who counted, and Rusty Bargo snuck it around on the sweep. Gets it in there for the Knights score.
Points after this year belong to Marshall Shipp. 11 of 14 in this department. Has a 37-yard field goal to boot this year as well. It'll be Corey Morris on the hold. And this is Marshall Shipp. That's up, and we are tied. 7's aside. Carl Hill on the bench for the Castle Knights. 8:30 to go until the break. You're watching high school football's game of the week on WB 19. And by Jesse Wells, a 5'8" senior. And so, bring out again Kelmaine Dixon for the 3rd time here in the first half.
Kelmaine completed his first attempt of the night. Missed Grimmer long on a toss into the end zone, and then one in and out of the hands of Randy Shearer before the interception. 8.5 minutes, a lot of time in the second quarter, but I would imagine we'll see a pass or two in this series.
Begins on the 30 here for the Huskies. Huskies trying to break a 2-game losing skid tonight. Dorenzo Bushrod to the 41, close to a first down.
How about that run? Dorenzo, that's a determined run right there. He was tripped up in the backfield, tripped up at the line, tripped up in the secondary. He just kept on going forward.
Casey Elkins amongst those in on the tackle for John Leidy's Castle Knights.
That's the 5th Husky first down. You know, we talked to Coach Leidy before, and you know, you always read about it in the paper or hear the sportscasters talking about John and his coaching career, but you brought the R word up.
Retirement, because it's talked about every year.
I tell you what, I hate the thought of that with Coach Leidy. He'll be one that this game will truly miss. He's 27 years, I think he said.
Yeah, 27th year, all here at Castle.
And, you know, I think he gave the indication that he's going to stay around as long as he's having a good time. And he said, granted, it's a lot easier to have fun when you're 4-0 as opposed to 0-4. But I tell you, he has really done something here at Castle High School. I don't even like that thought of that R word.
Shearer that time, but he's greeted hard quickly by Zach Layer.
I have that for Randy's first carry of the game. They threw to him to the outside in the first quarter. And as you said, he's a very capable runner. He can break it at any time.
163 yards in the first month. It's his parents, Ralph and Diana, who are the presidents of the Fighting Huskies football club. So very active in North High School football, the Shearer family. He picked up a yard, 2nd down and 9 from the 42. Just launching it out there. And we've seen that work probably more times than not, particularly to that guy. Pass intended for John Grimmer. 6 1/4 last year. 625 receiving yards. As Pete said, that is a school record at North High School.
He's a nice target for the quarterback, Kelmaine Dixon. You know, I bet I know what the Shearer household looks like about this time of year as the Booster Club presidents. I did some work for last year's president. I believe they were the presidents at the time, the Elliott household. And boy, they had North shirts everywhere.
3rd and 9. 7:10 here to go until halftime. Dixon again is back to pass. Has Grimmer. Fingertips to it. That's it. I would say almost intercepted, but those fingertips afterwards by Levon Clements came out of bounds.
Fingertips and footsteps were what that play was all about. As Grimmer, even with his experience, he knew he was in a crowded jungle that time, and he went up to catch that ball. But there were about 4 Knights around him, and that's not a very cordial atmosphere when you're going up for a football out there in Castle Country.
So junior Mike Miller, very impressed with him this year, will kick it away. Not the best of snaps, but still gets away a dandy. Corey Morris has been returning most of these this year. And gets it out to around the 33. Nice job by Corey Morris.
I think Corey was running around looking for a blocker that time. He had a couple of guys around, but mostly they were wearing white jerseys that time. A nice return by Corey.
He's been averaging about 10 yards per punt return in the first 4 games. So Morris brings you out to around the 33. 6:51, plenty of time for Bargo and company. Extreme outside. Tim Felton. And back with Haller to the 36. So there's 3 more. And bring up 2nd down and 7 for Castle.
John Haller taking advantage of some time very effectively. Carl Hill still wrapped in with his left shoulder on ice and a towel around. Not in his pads, in his shoulder pads. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on Carl on the Knight sideline.
Second about 6. That time the Huskies read that one all the way, going to Kevin Fox. Mentioned 43 yards last week. Has over 200 yards in the first 4 weeks of the season. He also had a 48-yard scamper this year.
Metz in on that tackle once again. You know, you talk about Mike Miller, a fine punter, playing safety back there, and I wonder why he's wearing number 1. Wonder if he has a hero maybe somewhere playing college football, say Notre Dame.
Who also wore number 1 here?
He was wearing number 1 at Notre Dame. And wasn't he 80 something here?
No, he was 1. He may have started out with 80, but he was 1.
But Deke, I had the pleasure of watching Deke Cooper in action last weekend up at Purdue. And I tell you what, Darren, the television does not do Mr. Cooper any justice back there in that free safety spot.
Didn't do Notre Dame justice last week either, so we're off to a 1-2 start.
I tell you what, he is very, very impressive back there, and he has such a presence that defenses avoid him. You know, Breeze didn't go deep very often last week, and they played off of Cooper all game long.
Sampson gets rid of it. That's a live ball. That's Castle's ball at the 30. Levon Clements. And Castle's drive is still alive.
That was just a line drive shot at Brandon Ragland. Brandon tried to come up with that one. That ball would have bounced all the way down inside the 10, but that was a bullet. Hit Brandon in the chest and the shoulder pad area and just shot back out of there as quickly as it came in.
Nice hustle by Levon and covers up, and it's 1st and 10 from the 30. Inside 5 here to go until halftime. 7-7. Fargo bought himself some extra time. Downfield, holding on. Fox on the reception. It's a huge one. His 3rd of the year.
He caught that one like a true receiver. He knew right where the sideline was, right where the football was. And that that goes for 15 yards and a first down.
And as impressive as that was, out of his 3 receptions so far this year, that's the least. He has one for 26 and 25. Now down to the 10-yard line. It's 1st and goal for the Castle Knights. Bargo successful first time to the air. He's not gone a whole heck of a lot. Inside the 10 to about the 7. Again moves Kevin Fox. And keep in mind the Knights move now without their top rusher in Carl Hill.
Well, they are moving the football, and thanks to John Howler, who has come off the bench to do a fine job. And then Kevin Fox with that big reception. And Castle taking advantage of some turnovers. They had the game's first in the fumble, but have now forced North into a couple of their own. They scored off the first one. Now inside the 10 on the second.
2nd and goal from the 7. Here's Haller. And Haller down to about the 2.
Haller just ran out of feet, I think. Just ran out of feet to stand on. He was fully extended on that run. And he just, they just strung him out. What a nice run by John. A nice one once again.
This is 3rd and goal from the 2. Looking for the end zone. Looking for Kelly Miller.
Well, that
what was that? Excuse me. That was Zach Lair.
As just off the shoulder pads of Zach. Coming across.
I'm sorry. It wasn't. Trust your first judgment. It brings up 4th and a deuce.
Flashing through the back of the end zone. And the ball just on his right shoulder. And pops out.
Confused me because that's the first time he's gone to Miller all year. Granted, it's just game 5 of the season. He'll keep it this time. Touchdown! Castle! Bargo! 6th one of the year.
It's a rusty night in paradise as Bargo has both of their scores. The sweep around the right side for about 9. And the dive behind the capable line for about a yard.
And enter Marshall Shipp for the 2nd time.
Rusty scored on his last 2 carries.
And again with Carl Hill on the bench. The scoring's come with him on the bench. You want him out there, but that's a good sign. And as probably Coach Lighty would have told you at the top of the season, it's great to have Carl Hill, but this team is more than just Carl Hill.
And that is something that a coach is very proud of. You know, nobody, well, you always take what you have, but they know how dangerous the situation is when you're a team based around one player. And that is, you know, Castle has just always had the skill, and they've always had the team ethic. They've never really been faced with that situation. And, but, you know, make no mistake about it. Carl Hill is their tailback, and we hope that Carl Hill is okay. And he's lost sight of him on the sideline. And there he is. We just hope he's going to make it through this first half, and hopefully we'll see him. But most importantly, we wish him a recovery from this.
And there's still a lot of football to be played here in 1999. Castle hopes it leads them to the state championship again. They've been there to the state championship game twice under John Lighty. And North will begin on the 25.
Something that you don't often see in high school football, and football in general as that goes, is the fair catch on the kickoff. But it's something that the receiving team can do. And the Knights have been popping those kicks up pretty high, and the Huskies have taken advantage of that. And the last 2 kicks they've received in fair catch fashion.
It was Charlie Lacey, or as more affectionately known CB, who caught the ball there just inside the 25. He knows these 2 teams pretty well. He played for Jeffersonville last year. He's now with the North Huskies. That's a live ball. That's gutsy to Dorenzo Bushrod. If that doesn't work, you're kicking yourself for the next week.
That's a dangerous play. I tell you, The Huskies definitely have the heebie-jeebies right now out there with a couple of turnovers in their last 2 possessions, and that's a gutsy one, and they got away with that one. Hopefully that realization will swing things around, and they can get some offense going here in this late first half possession.
2nd and 9, all that for a yard. 2:40 here left to play until halftime. 14-7, Castle. Dixon hands off to Bushrod, who will pick up another yard or 2, and still 3rd and long coming up for the North Huskies. A very confident Mike Wilson tonight, Pete, as we talked to him earlier. Likes what he's seeing. Week in practice, said it was fine. You know, you get hammered by a very good, if not an excellent, modern-day football team. But this, the season's not over because you have one bad game or one bad half. He was confident coming into Castle tonight.
And well, he should be. I still regard these guys as one of the top 2 or 3 teams in town and in the conference. And I told him that and asked him if he thought that they still believe that, after the way the last 2 weeks have gone. And he thought about it a while and said, yeah, I think they do. They've shown him a lot. They've shown him a lot in practice this past week. And the coaching staff, Scott Streeter, we had a lot of visit with Scott and a couple of the other North coaches. They really talked like they realized the kids are more resilient than the coaches are, and thought the kids were ready to go by about Tuesday or Wednesday, and their practices have been great since then. And now Castle, though, they're a great defense.
Miller kicks it away. It's Corey Morris to about the 48. Free T-shirt week. T-shirts courtesy of the WB here. And the Frog in town tonight. Michigan J. Frog was in paradise. It's great to be in paradise. Castle Knights and North Huskies here in week number 5. And our high school football game of the week as we watch it back on this Saturday afternoon. 1:42 here left to play until halftime. And a big feature here at the half, the Castle Marching Band under the direction of Tom Dean. We'll take a look at them coming up at the break.
The penalty flag on the field and the reaction from the crowd, a little extracurricular activity between Mike Miller of North and Levon Clements of Castle. And, last year, Coach Leidy told us how tough Levon Clements is. And he's a mean one and will not back down from anything. And, if you don't believe me, Levon went into that fight at 5'8", 165. Mike Miller, 6'4", 205. Yeah. And Levon says, I have none of that. You're going to get all you need from me. And those two just carried their blocks a little bit after the play. I believe the call is an offsetting penalty, and now the official talking to the captains on the field.
Well, that's
for
not
both teams.
Yeah, it's not the first physical. This game it's been a physical first half. It has been.
Well, we just hope that both teams will keep their composure. North always very businesslike on the field. They a good ball club to watch. They'll go out and play hard-nosed football between the whistles, as does Castle. Coach Leidy has built a very respectable program up here, but you've got a battle going on out there.
Important game, Pete. I mean, they're all important, but North doesn't want to drop to 2 and 3. Castle, arguably is heading into the most difficult part of their schedule. After today's game with North, they play Wrights, Harrison, and Mater Dei in the next 3 weeks.
Well, in case you're wondering, it's not that the officials can't make up their minds down there. They called the offsetting penalties and just marched them off back and then forth, and 1st and 10 as a result.
10 minutes later, we're on the 48.
Yeah, how'd you like to head into that spot, that part of your schedule? And that's what Coach Leidy faces after this tough team in this battle tonight.
Haller has the first down. This is speed. One can catch him. He was it. Dorenzo Bushrod stops him inside the 5.
That's about a 43-yard run for John Haller. And the man can run. He just outran most of the fastest defense in the area.
And they're going to spot it on the 5 with 1:32 left. Plenty of time. And now the timeout is we keep it here. This has been an entertaining second quarter.
Well, we've seen an awful lot happen in a short period of time here in the second quarter. And Castle really taking advantage of things. A couple of turnovers and some very tough defense. You know, they did really buckle things down after North's opening drive for the score, and the Huskies haven't been able to generate any offense due to that defense. The Castle is thrown out at him.
So $1:32 left. And here's Castle, first and goal from the 5. They spot the Huskies 7 and have the last 14 and threaten here again. All without Carl Hill. If you're just joining us or just missed reading the paper this morning, Carl Hill went down early in the first quarter. So first and goal from the 5 for the Castle Knights, a team that's been averaging 26.5 points per game in the first month of this regular season. Bargo kept it last time for his 6th touchdown of the year. Haller tries awful hard for maybe an inch.
Mike Miller, one of the Huskies in there. He's joined by Mike Elliott. A couple other white shirts. And nowhere to go for Big John.
Castle wouldn't mind wasting a little time here as well to punch it in and give it back to the Huskies with not a whole lot of time left. Now we're inside of a minute. This is 2nd down and 5.
Well, when you have Kilmaine Dixon and John Grimmer working against you, you don't want to get the ball back to them.
Fox stopped about the 2.
Well, he's fun to watch. He's just nothing but pure power in there, Darren, and he just bulls that ball down to about the goal line.
Yeah, that's inside the 1 where they spot it. Well, 35 seconds and rolling. Here's 3rd, less than a yard for Castle.
Now the Huskies want to make sure that they're set up just the way they want to be.
They take the timeout.
So at the risk of gambling, you know, and trying to watch that clock run out, Coach Wilson says, hey, we need to talk about this. We want to make sure that we do exactly what we want to do on this defensive play. And come up with a big stop here and go into the locker room at the half, just down 7. And the coaches told us how important it is for this ball club to put together 4 good quarters of football. You know, they have a lot of speed. They have a lot of ability to get back into a game that they've found themselves behind in. But so far, the second quarter has not gone the way the Huskies coaching staff would prefer. A couple of turnovers, and they haven't been able to get any offense generated here in the second quarter. So I'm sure that's going to be one of the things that these Huskies will be reminded of when they get to the locker room at half.
3rd and goal. You can see how close, just inside the 1.
These guys come to the line. Castle brings 245 pounds per man offensively, 260 for the Huskies on defense.
Bargo, touchdown!
Another 1-yard touchdown run for Rusty, and it's the showcase. Rusty Bargo, second 1-yard touchdown dive. He has a 9-yard touchdown run. Rusty has scored the last 3 times he's carried the football.
7th touchdown of the year for Rusty Bargo. He had a kick return for a TD already this year. Adds up, and that is good. Marshall ship shape. 21-7. 27.4 seconds left until we head to the break.
Well, the Huskies will get the football back, and as we talked, Kelmaine Dixon, a very capable passer. You have John Grimmer you can throw to. Dorenzo Bushrod has caught a 25-yard pass tonight. Antonio Madison, Brandon Ragland catches some passes. Alan Collins out there, a lot of targets. So if the Huskies decide they want to try to get some points on the board, it is not out of the question in this situation.
21-7. That was the score last week after 4 quarters of play when Castle beat Central. So 27.4 seconds left until the break. And they went 3 and out. North came down, impressive drive, had the first 7. And basically since that point, it has been Castle. But a whole second half in front of us.
Well, if the Knights keep playing the defense that they have in this second quarter, it'll be very tough for North to get back in it. But the thing to remember is it's been turnovers that have set the table for this Knights lead. So if you can prevent those from happening in the second half, get back into your own game a little bit, these Huskies can score.
Jesse Wells signaling for the fair catch that time at the 27. Do you gamble here? If you're Dixon, do you try to heave one downfield? You just don't want to turn it over and go down at 28-7.
I think you want to try to run some plays that will generate some momentum into the second half.
Well, North's going to get the football in the second half.
And possibly score off of that. But I don't think that we'll see them sit on the football. I think they'll try to build some confidence in their offense and just see what happens.
1st and 10 from the 27. Open up on the ground. That's what they're looking for. There are very few speedier than Antonio Madison. That is his 26th carry of the year as he approaches the 200-yard mark on the season.
17 yards for Antonio, and the Huskies' 6th first down. They'll stop. Whoops.
Flag on the play.
I missed that flag. I didn't see it fly, and we'll bring this one back. That's only the Huskies' the third penalty due to the offsetting. This holding call is a biggie.
That's a tough break, too, because at very least you want momentum, because like I said, if you're North, you're going to get the football to begin the second half. And 21-7 is not insurmountable. So you back them up all the way to the 22.
Well, and you had the ball near midfield with the clock stopped at 20. And you can do a lot. Now I think we'll see the attitude change a little bit. And this will probably be the last play.
And take a knee and send us into the break. 21-7 Castle. When we come back to Castle Stadium, one of the top bands in the state of Indiana, the Castle Knights Marching Band, on our high school football game of the week.
Band members down there.
They're cute at that age. All right.
There you go.
Youth.
Great camera work of Pat Moore down there.
21-7 our scores. We get set to begin our third quarter, and the report on Carl Hill was a slight shoulder separation. I think one of the coaches joked, well, if it was the state championship, he'd be playing. So that tells you he'll probably sit the rest of this one out, and he will be back next week when they take on the Wrights Panthers right here.
Boy, we talked about the schedule that the Knights face. Wrights, Harris, and Mater Dei. Starting it with these North Huskies tonight. But boy, they really are looking pretty good out there tonight here in Paradise.
21-7 getting set to begin our third. Great job by Castle Marching Band there at halftime. At this hour, as we watch it back on this Saturday afternoon, they are in Terre Haute. We will go behind the scenes with the Castle Knights Marching Band following this football game. Also, an encore presentation. If you missed it back in April, we had a great piece on Brad Ames, of course, the former North Huskies football player that nearly died on the playing field. His story's coming up following this game as well. To the 26. Nice stop that time by Aaron Hills. As the ball was brought out there by Michael Gregory. And here come the Huskies to begin on the 26-yard line.
They're, you know, for as aggressive as the Huskies looked in that their first possession of the game, they almost look a little bit timid out there now. That, you know, a couple of turnovers, and it's almost like a team that, you know, they're second-guessing themselves a little bit. And I hope the coaches have some success at getting them over that, because this is a very fine football team. And once they get to running the ball and throwing the ball with that fire that they did in the opening drive, they're going to be very capable. But that's a tough thing to shake. You know, when things start to roll, then all of a sudden the bad breaks come. And that's what they've faced all season. And it gets a little bit hard to deal with after that.
Dorenzo Bushrod there with a carry, just a yard. Had 29 on the ground, just 48 yards rushing for the Huskies in the first half. 29 of those belong to Dorenzo Bushrod. Here's Shearer. There's a flag on the play. I want to say the first half was flag free, but to this point in our season, certainly the least flags we've seen to this point.
Well, just 2 for 25 yards against North and 1 for 10 yards against Castle. Had an offsetting in there thrown on some unsportsmanlike. But yeah, not a heavily flagged game.
And this will back the Huskies up. These tend to be expensive inside the 20 to the 19.
So they open it with a hold. And they've been having a hard time getting anything going. And flags have really been at inopportune times. You know, with 20 seconds left in the first half, they had it in night territory, but that was brought back from a hold.
This is second, close to 20. Looking to the outside, looking for Grimmer. Still trying to make that connection for the first time tonight. 1 of 2 in the first half for Kelmaine Dixon.
Yeah, I think he threw a few more than.
Yeah, he was
for 1 of 6.
I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, he was. I'm reading the interceptions.
But
he was 2 of 8. He had 1 to Dorenzo Bushrod and 1 to Brandon Ragland. This is still 3rd and 20 in a passing situation. To the air, up the middle, Mike Miller. Close to a first down. With that turn, we'll see where they spot the ball. Now, Mike Miller's not really been used as a target. That time he almost picks up 20 yards. I think he is just short.
He knew where he had to go and just couldn't quite get there. One night hit him, another night followed after that, and he made a very good go of it, but looks like he's just a little bit short.
Now a decision. When it's that close, Pete, that's again less than half a yard, or maybe right at half a yard here.
And this is a tough decision, I think.
When you're down by 14 here, how much faith do you have in those carriers?
Well, there's no hesitation on the part of the Huskies. Like to see that.
So they're going to go for it. On 4th and less than a yard. We've had a couple of these already tonight.
And the Huskies, a team due for a break in this ball game.
4th and less than 1. They get there. Dorenzo Bushrod, the junior, picks up the first down across the 40.
Well, they say you make your own breaks, and that time Dorenzo Bushrod with some fine front line work of the guys in front of him. Jared Porter and Mike Elliott in there opening the way. Jacob Board, the center. And Dorenzo 6 yards, and the Huskies first down in a pretty good while.
1st and 10 from the 42. Bushrod really taken back. No gain or loss on the play. Nice job on the stop. Again, the sophomore, big kid, Andrew Burke. Just a sophomore, huh?
We'll get used to that name. And offensive backs get used to that punishment. He's going to be around for a while, and he'll be a tough one.
Future D1er, maybe. Andrew Burke, 6'5", 240. 34 tackles, 21 solo. That's a top tackler after 4+ weeks. This is 2nd down and 8. And again, Bushrod, no. Not there. Ben Nicholson again amongst those in on the stop. Another good one.
Boy, just nowhere to go that time on the offensive right. Castle really converges on a play. And Coach Wilson said, you know, they've been dealing with speed all season. They've been playing against speed. Tonight they face immovable objects is the words that he chose for the night defense. I tell you what, they are big and they are strong, and immovable objects that can hurt you.
And they've not been on the field that much. And there's a break that will go the Huskies' way. They're going to say drawn off, but this will work its way in favor of North and move it up 5. And a big difference now, it's 3rd and 3 instead of 3rd and 8. But the Huskies only had the ball for 6 minutes and 40 seconds in that first half, compared to 17 minutes, 18 seconds for Castle. That's a big difference.
Well, they wasted no time in that scoring drive, and then really only picked up a couple of first downs since that drive in the first half, so didn't hold the ball long at all.
3rd and 3. Last minute pitch to the outside will pick up a first down, and there again is Dorenzo Bushrod, and the drive stays alive for North. Impressive.
But they played off of Randy Shearer that time. They faked the dive up the middle to Randy, pitched it out to Dorenzo, and he picked up another 6.
Lorenzo came into the game with 324 yards, so he fast approaches 400 yards in week number 5. For your top rusher for the Huskies here in 99, and Bushrod is just a junior. So to the 45, here's 1st and 10 for North. Down 21-7 to undefeated Castle. Kept it himself. That's a broken play that worked for 3 yards.
They're playing off of Randy rather, and again the fake dive to Randy Shearer coming out.
He almost lost that football. I'm not sure he didn't want to pitch the ball here to the near side, but he held on. He juggled it and turned it into like a 3-yard gain, 3 or 4-yard gain. His second about 7. .810 here left in the 3rd. And all things considered, the Huskies want to come away here with something. Down 14 at Castle. That's almost intercepted. You're looking for Ragland. It almost found the hands of Levon Clements, who just seems to be everywhere tonight.
That's a guy that he's having a night defensively tonight, and he even fell down and just about made the interception. And I think that's why Kelmaine threw that football. Levon got a little, got his feet caught up a little bit and hit the dirt. Kelmaine didn't see him, and Levon got up in time to just about catch that ball. So, you know, that's the way the night is going for the Huskies. They're really getting some bad breaks that time, as Kelmaine thought he had somebody wide open.
Antonio Madison picks up a first down. That first step of Madison's is quick.
And the second and the third, and quick and strong.
He goes over 200 yards on the season with that last. 5'9", another junior. No one likes to talk about next year when basically halfway through this year, but North's going to return a lot next year.
I really like this Husky team. It's a fine bunch that Coach Wilson and his gang has. And as you said, a lot of youth, and a lot of youth in the trenches too.
Huskies hold the ball here in the 3rd. Found the hole. Down to the 15. And that's the first carry tonight for James Bell, the sophomore.
17 yards and another first down to keep this ball moving. And I tell you what, that North Husky line surge was amazing that time, and that is something that the Castle Knight defense is not used to. North came off of that football with some fire.
James Bell, 12 carries for 151 yards coming into this game, and again, that's his first carry of the night. On the 17, 1st and 10. Bushrod, the first down, and this looks like the first drive of the game, Pete.
They're moving the football very quickly. Another 10 yards for Dorenzo. Boy, he took some hit that time. But he just really gets to that outside, and now it's North is able to get their running backs to the outside here as they were in that first drive. In between, they hadn't been able to do that. 4 first downs in this drive for the Huskies.
This becomes 1st and goal, and that ball spotted on the 8. It wasn't a do-or-die drive for the Huskies, but this keeps it interesting as they were down 21-7 and still are down 21-7, but knocking on the door. 6:40 here left in the 3rd.
I think they need this one more mentally, for their mental sake, than their situation with the score. I think this is a big score for these Huskies to wake up from that little second quarter nap that the coaches have been complaining about through the year.
Zach Lair that time putting the hit on Dorenzo Bushrod. Actually backed him up another yard, so it becomes 2nd down and 9. Halfway home in our 3rd. 2nd and 9 here for the Huskies. 2nd and goal from the 9. Bushrod closing in on the 5. And before we get to the 4th down, if indeed we do, they're thinking 6 here all the way, Pete. I don't even think field goals coming into the mind of Mike Wilson here.
I don't believe so, Darren. Ryan Igurski, the safety, with the big hit that time inside the 5-yard line. They went with the draw play. They split 2 wideouts, opened up that middle a little bit, but safety Igurski stayed home and made the stop.
Able to get into the 5. This is 3rd and goal from the 4. Here again, Bushrod doesn't get in, and it brings up 4th and a couple. They'll take a timeout to talk about, I think, how they're going to work this in for 6 points, Pete. I don't think field goals even crossing the mind here. Not when you're down 21-7, and, we're more than halfway home in our 3rd quarter.
It'd be nice to get some points on the board. They haven't cracked the scoreboard since the first time they got the hands on the ball in this game. It doesn't look like they're discussing kicking it, but looks like they're going to try to punch this thing in. The middle has been working when they've spread it, but the Knights, as I said earlier, year in and year out, one of the toughest red zone defenses that you'll face. Huskies are 1 for 1 tonight against them inside the red zone.
Right now inside the 5. 4th and goal. 3 yards out. And the Huskies down 21-7. And so right now, this is the play they may be talking about for the next week.
Well, I'll guess if they go for it here, I think they'll play off of that middle success and maybe bootleg something around. But now with 3 wideouts, the tight end, the split end, and the flanker all wide, and Castle stacking the middle.
4th and goal from the 3 for Kelmaine Dixon, and another timeout that wanted to see how Castle maybe was going to line up. And if you're not too sure, I mean, this is not the ball game, but it's close. You know what I mean?
Well, and the big thing is they've spent 2 timeouts down here in this situation. They got to look at the Knights' defensive set, but at quite an expense with using 2 timeouts. But these are, I love this part of high school football.
This is the chess match part of it.
And you never know. All these coaches have their bag of tricks up there, and you never know what you're going to see.
Well, you won't see another timeout here. You will see 4th and goal again from the 3 with the Huskies down 21-7. This is their opening drive. It has lasted now better than 6 minutes. Almost 7. So here we go again.
Now they have 4 wide, 5 on the line, and 1 in the back.
Pitch to the outside.
They got
Bushrod, touchdown, North.
I tell you what, Dorenzo, he couldn't stretch any farther than he did that time. He just got to the cone. He just got it out there and got that ball in there.
Leading scorer for the Huskies has his 7th of the year. And bring on the sophomore, Matt Becker, for the extra point.
Really went to the tight side of the field that time with the pitch, and they pinched it right in the little room that they had. And nice touchdown for the Huskies. That's a biggie.
That is good. 21-14, 5:07 here left in the third. You're watching high school football's game of the week right here on WB 19. Stadium. I'm Darren Smith alongside Pete Hillenbrand. We've got a game 21-14 Castle, and they're going to say he was down, he being Casey Elkins, at the 25. So our first look here in the second half of the Castle Knights is the Huskies had the ball for nearly a 7-minute drive, and it results in 7.
Well, that was a big drive for this North team, Darren. I think Castle had shut them down completely since that game-opening drive. The Huskies' first possession. A couple of turnovers in the second half. Apparently, the Huskies have recovered from that, and now just 7 down. A big defensive stand, which is another thing that they need now. And boy, here we go. Hold on to something solid.
Well, he's back. Carl Hill crosses the 30. A slight shoulder separation is not going to keep the senior out, and he picks up a quick 6.
Well, it's his left shoulder that they had iced and now have taped. And it looked like the shoulder that had driven into the ground on that tackle. And we hope Carl's okay.
And the report was, at halftime that they weren't going to use him. But all of a sudden, this is now a 7-point game. So I wonder if that had something to do with it.
Well, they know they have a big schedule up ahead of them starting tonight.
Here's Fox. He picks up the first down, approaching midfield to the 43.
That's 11 for Fox, 11 for Kevin. Add that to his first half 26. He has 37 and a nice first down.
Leading rusher for Castle in the first half, John Haller, 9 carries, 75 yards, including one that went for 43. So first and 10 from the 43, coming up on 4 minutes here left to play in the third.
I think Rusty is changing the play here.
Exactly what I was thinking. He's going to pick up close to 4 or 5.
That one surprised me because that looked to be where most of the traffic was. And it worked.
And Bargo's been doing that, throughout the season so far. I mean, passing, he's 6 of 13 for 160 coming in. But he's run the ball already for over 200 yards. He's carried the ball now 50 times in not quite 5 weeks.
Well, he's very effective on the bootleg, but he's no slouch up the middle. He works with the football well.
2nd and 6. Carl Hill picks up the first down, stays on balance to the 35. He's taken out by Mike Miller.
Well, he took a shot to that left shoulder for Miller. Miller hit hard that time.
And Carl Hill, before he went down, 8 carries, 28 yards. Now he's playing hurt, and that's his most impressive run so far tonight.
It bettered his first half total, first quarter total. He was injured on his last carry of the first quarter, and now with that shot, he's back out, and we really hope that he's all right. John Haller really had a big second quarter. Carl looks to be in a bit of pain there.
Haller's first carry here in the third, and he's taken down by the strong man, Antonio Johnson. 12 solo tackles. There's number 13. He has a QB sack this year. He's caused 2 fumbles. Yeah, it's great to have him back.
He takes up a lot of room on that defensive line of scrimmage. Just nowhere to run that time for John Haller.
This is 2nd and 8. 2:22 here left in the third. Bargo is going to keep. And little to no gain on that one. And Jacob Metz that time on the stop. And Bargo a little shooken up. And we had a report that Bargo was hurt Well, not hurt, but, you know, gimpy a little bit, I guess, you know, coming into this third quarter.
Little shoulder stinger himself, and boy, it now looks like he took a pop there.
Well, Brandon Roop is listed as the backup quarterback, and I bet you we see him here.
It's his left shoulder. So not his throwing arm, but he looks like he really took a zinger there.
So Rusty Bargo has played an outstanding game, is sidelined for the moment, and enter the sophomore Brandon Roop. He's carried the ball a couple of times. Last week, 8 yards on 3 carries, 26 yards on 5 carries overall. The action Brandon Roop has seen so far this year. Carl Hill, though, is back in. And Carl Hill gets to the 31, and you need to get to the 26 to keep the drive alive. Bring up 4th down in 4-down territory.
Well, Shipp has does he have a 37-yarder to his resume against Boonville this season? But this one would be a 49 or 50-yarder, so 4th and 6, and it's all go for the Knights.
4th and 6 for Castle. Yeah, you're right. They do have Marshall Shipp, who's not been shy of at least attempting the field goal. He's 1 of 3, but they're going to see if they can pick it up this way. And Roop is going to keep, and he's taken back.
Boy, that's a big one for the Huskies.
That's a big one for Jacob Metz.
Helped themselves out in field position a little bit, too, on the sack. But the Knights saw something that they liked in the defensive left side of the Huskies. It worked one time for Carl Hill for 20 yards, but the Husky left went to work after that. And the left side was responsible for that stoppage on downs as they take over 1st and 10. They're on 36.
Continuing to look at Rusty Bargo. Try to get an update on him. Here's Kelmaine Dixon. Finds room with Antonio Madison. Madison has plenty of room. And Madison picks up the 1st down to midfield.
Those screen plays are always fun to watch, aren't they, Darren? The little passes that goes for 17 yards, 15 yards that time.
Casey Elkins knocking him out of play. Again, that's the younger brother of Andy and Bryant Elkins. He is the first Elkins not to wear the Bossy colors.
It's different, isn't it, to see an Elkins in blue and gold. Well, he's carrying on the family tradition, though, that athletic ability that family possesses.
1st and 10 now from the 49. Second carry for James Bell. This is the sophomore I was impressed with, Pete, at our first look at the Huskies a couple of weeks ago against Harrison.
He hits that line hard for a sophomore. And, you know, we've seen a lot of good sophomores in the SIAC this year. There's Mater Dei on the west side has a whole slew of them.
Who we've not even seen yet. Take our first look at the Mater Dei Wildcats in 2 weeks. Next week we will be in Henderson County, and the Colonels and the Madisonville Maroons. That'll be next Saturday afternoon. Here is Dorenzo Bushrod, and that extra effort picking up a couple of yards all night on both sides, and that may be the final play of the 3rd quarter.
Well, his last 4-yard carry was for a touchdown. You know, now we're seeing the recognizable North Huskies. That I tell you, that's a football team. This is a football team, and it's going to be a great 4th quarter.
Yeah, we've got a football game. 3 in, 1 to come. 21-14 Castle, and we'll head to the ever popular 4th. We go there next on WB 19.
You have to make sure that you make the right decision, and you know it's a big 4th down. You have to come up with this one right now. Make sure that everybody knows their assignment. Make sure everybody knows the snap count. You don't want to commit the penalty here. Rusty Bargo on the bench now, similar in manner to the way we saw Carl Hill in the 2nd quarter. He has the towel over his head and no doubt some ice on the left shoulder, but Rusty really took a stinger on the keeper that he ran. Really hope that Rusty's all right. He's just a quality leader of this Castle football team, but he came off the field like he was hurting pretty good.
4th and less than 1. Castle trying to stay undefeated. They have the lead 21-14. Basically, it's been the Huskies' second half. Bushrod has the first. Has a lot more. Got past Elkins, finally taken out inside the 10. And Brandon Taylor saves 6 on that one.
Well, you could see it. When Bushrod got the football, it was not will he get the first down, it's how far will he go after he gets it. He had 2 Knights in front of him, but you could see the angle that he had on them, and he beat him to the outside of the line, and he's just flat speed out there. But I'd like to see him and John Howler line up and run a foot race, because Howler very quick on the Knight side of the football.
First and goal from the 9. This is Bell. And Bell pushed back to the 15. Amongst those in on the tackle, Ryan Agursky. A pretty good night for Ryan.
I thought I saw a late flag in there, but thought I saw one fly. I don't see one lying on the field. Must have just been a yellow, part of the yellow pants of the Knights in on the tackle as they swarmed James Bell that time and threw James back.
Third carry for Bell tonight. It's the first one really for a little bit of a loss. Not much of one. Spot the ball still just inside the 10, maybe a half yard. Back on the ground.
Well, this is where the Knight defense is so tough. The things that have been working for the Huskies have mainly been the middle on this one. However, they got to the outside on a pitch on the last touchdown.
Third down, 6 to go. This time, Dixon back to pass. To the end zone. Touchdown. Well, it tried for him earlier tonight, and that combination's at least going to work once or twice a game. It worked last year. John Grimmer on the end of it.
Boy, somebody missed something. I believe Grimmer somehow just got wide open in that southwest corner of the end zone. And I'm sure that surprised Kelmaine Dixon. Well, you know that play's designed to get him open, but he draws so much attention that the Huskies took advantage of it. They got some of the breaks that they deserved in that third quarter.
A perfect night for Mac Becker as well. We're tied at 21. We take a timeout with 9:51 here left to play. High school football's game of the week on WB 19. So this drive begins on the 20.
I tell you what, though, it's vintage Castle time right now. This could be the last possession of the football game. I've seen them put together 9-minute drives from their own 20 and cap them with a touchdown.
Carl Hill goes nowhere. Chuck went up for the North defense, that time led by the junior Mike Miller.
Boy, they are just everywhere right now. This was the North Husky team that played Harrison a couple of weeks ago. And, you know, they weren't happy with that first half in that game. And they'd have to look hard at that one. I was impressed the entire way.
2nd and 10. Roop is still the quarterback in for Rusty Bargo, and the Huskies.
Haven't seen the signal yet. North says they have it.
And they do.
And they do.
Well, I thought I saw that pop underneath the white jersey, but you're right, I was waiting for the signal.
Well, that's just the second Knight turnover of the game that matches the 2 that North had.
Unreal. Down 21-7 at the break. Tied at 21. It's 1st and 10 on the Castle 20.
And not only down 21-7, down 21-7 against Castle. Just a great defense, and you know, I think it's testament to how tough these Huskies can play.
Dorenzo Bushrod with the carry that time, gets out to the 16, so a gain of 4.
18th carry for Dorenzo. I'm about out of room, so we'll have to get word to Coach Wilson he can't use him anymore. I don't have any more room for him on the stats. How do you think that one will work?
Not well. Here's Bushrod again. That time they contained him.
That's
Carl
defense.
Hill's also, pretty good defensive player, and he had some help down below with David Sampson.
Defense a la Hill. He led the charge, and Sampson right on his heels, and they both combined to make that tackle. And that's something we haven't seen in a while from Dorenzo.
Well, losing a yard for one, yeah.
9 carries since his last loss, and that was just a yard. That's something you just don't do very often to Dorenzo coming out of the backfield.
Need to get to the 10. This is 3rd down and 11 for North. Dixon's back to pass. A short pass, but it goes for a loss. Now wearing number 21, Antonio Madison. And they back him all the way to the 25.
Well, the screen doesn't always work. And that's a big one, because now a field goal is huge, and now a field goal is long. It'll be a 37-yard. Well, how about a 43-yard field goal?
Well, no, they can't discuss it because they're out of timeouts.
So they'll go for it.
On 4th and 15.
After two tackles for losses.
Dixon to the air. Out of play. 1st and 10. We move the other way.
Boy, that is big time, big game defense by the Castle Knights.
Well, they're expecting the pass.
They stopped Dorenzo for a 4-yard loss, and then they pick up the screen, and they stop that one for another 4-yard loss. So now instead of a makeable field goal, they're basically out of field goal range, and that was for the lead. So they're forced to go for it on 4th and long, with about 5 O's in that word. And that's big-time defense by the Knights.
1st and 10 from the 25. Here's Carl Hill. He's halfway there, and 2nd down and 5 for the IU-bound senior.
Carl straight ahead, Hill that time. Right at you with that 5-yard gain. Boy, that is a busy place up at IU, and what a pipeline that we've developed. Not only in southern Indiana, well, Tyrone Browning no longer with them, but originally there from Wrights, Levron Williams from Bosse, JJ, Jonathan Jackson from Henderson County, Michael Henley from Apollo, now Carl Hill from Castle.
And of course, Leidy's there now, Vince Leidy.
Vince Leidy in his senior year, getting a lot of defense, some special teams, a lot of special teams action, and keeping mom and dad on the run.
As we watch this back on a Saturday afternoon, we also watch Mike Miller in some pain. That IU-UK game is over. Well, very, very close. Right now, concerns with Mike Miller. I'll tell you what, some stars tonight on both sides have been banged up. You don't want to lose Mike Miller for long either. And Barb Caton's out to take a look at him.
It's one of the hardest hitting Husky teams I've seen since the days of Deke Cooper, and these guys just crush you. But it was great to see Deke in action live. I've watched him on TV countless times, but as I said earlier, television does not do that man justice. He is an intimidator all the way back in the free safety position, and he's a pro prospect. I think in a couple of years, Evansville has 3 starters in the NFL, with Deke Cooper being the 3rd. Kevin Hardy, Sean Bennett already there.
21-21. This is 3rd down and 5 for Castle. This has been our best game of the first 5 weeks of our season. There's the 1st down, and boy, Haller tried for just a couple more. Nice job by Haller.
I tell you what, I am an instant fan of John Haller. I'm looking forward to watching his runs on tape. He is tough.
Doesn't give up, the junior. Following High School Football's Game of the Week. Sports Extra to follow, including the Brad Ames story, former North High School football standout. We'll talk to the winners of this one. Also take a look at the Castle Marching Band. It's all coming up after football this afternoon to the 46. 5 more. 5 more on the ground for Mr. Haller.
He's approaching 100 yards, 87, 86 yards now, and that's in 2 quarters.
Yeah, he's approaching 300 on the year.
He carried once in the first for just a yard. In the second, he exploded for 75.
2nd and 5. 5 minutes left in regulation. Haller breaks loose. Shoestrings at the 38, and you can credit Dorenzo Bushrod.
Hey, Dorenzo is an incredible quarterback. He did something there that I didn't think he was going to be able to do. Not only Dorenzo, but any cornerback or safety in the conference is make that shoestring tackle on John Haller. That's just about a scientific impossibility. And if I'm not mistaken, it was Dorenzo that chased John down and saved that touchdown in the first half.
Here come the Knights. 4:37 left. 21 apiece. Haller's been the man this drive. There's 4 more to bring up 2nd down and 6 as they now get inside the 35.
It's going to be tough to deny the Knights this one. It'll be a big-time defense that does. Be interesting to see what the Huskies bring. They're definitely capable, but these are some hungry Knights right now with a lot of history behind them.
Fox, first carry in a while, breaks the 30. Still going to be about 3 yards short. 3rd down and 3 here coming up for Castle.
5 for Fox on the counter. A very well executed play. The entire flow was to the offensive left side, and Fox took the handoff and shot straight to the right. And the Huskies had stayed home on the big fullback and made the 3rd and long stop. So it's 3rd and about 5, a short 5.
And they're working the clock as well. Now 3:20 left to play. 21 apiece, and Brandon Roop has been the quarterback to lead the charge. He's been handing off mostly to this guy. But Haller that time is stopped.
The initial hit was Mike Gregory, the outside linebacker. And then he had some help.
That's his 15th tackle of the year, 15th solo tackle. Carl Hill is back in there on a very big 4th and 4. And we've just had a plethora of would-be 4-down conversions tonight.
It's been a complete football game. It's still with 2:40 to play.
This is 4th and 4. Guess who gets the football? This is Carl Hill. And Hill down to the 26. And it should be enough for a 1st down.
He was still moving his feet. This, I believe he has it.
Slow to get up for the Huskies, Antonio Johnson. They're going to measure it.
I think Mr. Hill will probably be pretty happy with that spot. And I believe that they'll get the 1st down. He just kept those legs churning.
Yeah, they got it.
That's what does it. You keep your legs moving the entire time, and you'll get those. And Carl did.
2:29 left. 21-21. Here on the 26 for Castle. Well, with 35 games to pick from every week, Pete, in our coverage area, I think we picked a good one for our game of the week. They'll work some clock as they get closer to the end zone, to the 23 that time. As Roop keeps and brings up 2nd down and 7. Now inside 2 minutes. Huskies out of timeouts. Right now they're just thinking stop, though.
Well, in the Knights with timeouts and a kicking game, just need about 10 more yards to make it a reachable field goal. Well, the Ship's good from outside of 30. 1 out of 2 times.
Carl Hill inside the 20. We were talking to Coach Lighty before the game. Marshall Ship has a 37-yarder this year.
37 yards, and he missed a 1 at 31, was it? And so right now it's a 37-yarder right now.
1:20 left in regulation. 21-21. You're looking at 3rd down and 3 for Castle. Carl Hill stopped. And 4th and a couple here in decision time for John Lighty.
Well, with that stop of Carl Hill, another thing that very seldom happens is catching Carl for a loss. But you're looking at about a 38-yarder. And where are they lined up? Right about the left hash, it looks like.
What do you do?
Well, they're going to let the clock run down, and I think they're going to go ahead and kick it.
Clock continues to dwindle.
Ship has his right hand up in the air. He wants this one.
Enter the sophomore.
Boy, living a dream.
1 for 3 this year with the field goals. A 37-yarder already this year. He's been right on tonight. Of course, those with just extra points. Let's see if Marshall Ship can get it done with 33.7 seconds to play.
When the game is on the line, how tough. This is a long kick. It's a long field goal. Keep your eyes on the poles. You'll see the ball, part of the ball will disappear if it clears the near side upright. And then part of the yellow will disappear if it's inside of the far side upright. So keep an eye on the stripes and the leg of Marshall Ship as they put the block on the 29-yard line for a 39-yard attempt.
The Huskies have already lost a game this year in the waning minutes, and the waning seconds to Harrison. And they lost 9-6. This is the sophomore Marshall Ship. It is up, and it is not even close.
Just a little short. He got a little bit under it and popped it up, and his holder is not real pleased. So perhaps something happened in the exchange there. I didn't get a good look at that, but he's a sophomore with quite a leg.
He sure is. And he'll have plenty more chances
in the future. Well, and you give the ball to Kelmaine Dixon with 28 seconds left. Kelmaine and John Grimmer, Alan Collins, Dorenzo Bushrod, Antonio Madison, Brandon Ragland, they all catch him.
Or are we going into overtime?
Not yet, I don't believe.
1st and 10 from the 20.
Yep, we're going to overtime.
We'll send it into the break. This has been the best one so far on our docket. In week 5, we are headed to overtime at Castle Stadium, 21 apiece. What a great one for high school football's game of the week.
If it's sports you're looking for, then this is the place for you. Every Saturday, WB19. It all kicks off at noon with the area's only live TV call-in show, Sports Talk Live. Followed by WB19's high school football game of the week.
It's the end zone. Touchdown.
Then it's the Tri-State's only full half-hour filled start to finish with local sports features, Sports Extra. Followed by More Than a Game. And then at 4 o'clock on WB19, it's 3 full hours of wrestling. First, the WCW presents Worldwide Wrestling. Then at 5, WB presents WWF SmackDown. Saturdays will never be the same. WWAC Channel 19 is your local WB and your station for local sports. WB19 Saturdays. Don't miss it.
Well, welcome back to Castle Stadium. Overtime, and here is how this works.
Well, we've got 4 plays coming from the 10-yard line, and the Castle Knights 2 for 2 on the coin tosses tonight will get their shot at the end zone first, and they'll go at it. So it comes down to who has 4 big tackles in them. It comes down to, do I kick the field goal on 4th down and long, or just a lot of big decisions here in the overtime. And both crowds very much into it, both sides of the stadium. The Huskies side, a lot of green and white over there, and Castle with the ball first.
4 tries to get in, and no matter what happens here, the Huskies will get their chance. Carl Hill they begin with, and he'll lose about 4.
He got tied up in the backfield looking for that right side. His last time he went to the right, he picked up about 18 yards. Not that time. As a good left side of the line, a good surge on the part of the Husky defense, and Carl ran into a couple of his own linemen initially in the backfield. Then a couple Huskies met him to make the wrap and the drop for the loss of a couple.
Castle will take a timeout here. You got them, you use them. Following this game, we will talk to the winners. Bring you the Brad Ames story, the former North High School football player that nearly died on the playing field. We'll talk to his parents and his brother and bring you up to date on Brad Ames. But also check out behind the scenes with the Castle Knights marching band.
Well, what an impressive band, and what good pizza they sell in their, concession stand. The band runs the concession stand up here, but Darren, the band is so good, I wonder if it's bad for business. I went to grab a soda at halftime, and there was no line. Everybody was out watching the Castle marching band.
That's right, they are.
That's something you don't often see at a high school football game. Everybody flocks to the concession stand.
We're also going to preview the Central Harrison game, which is coming up later tonight at Enloe Field. So we'll preview the Harrison Central game. We'll talk to the winners of this one, the Brad Ames story, the Castle band, and a martial arts instructor competitor by the name of Lester Easley. That's all coming up as soon as we're done here. We'll start off by talking to the winners of this one. This is 2nd down, and not as much of a loss as I thought. They mark it 2nd down and 11 in overtime. Here are the Castle Knights. And Roop holding on. He has some running room, and it's a touchdown. I don't think the Huskies knew where he was, but we have a flag on the play.
Well, and that's back in the backfield. That's surely a holding penalty or a clip back there.
It's coming back.
And that is a tough break, because that defense was completely sealed off and fooled. And one official doesn't realize there's a flag on the play. He's already spotted it at the 3 for the extra point. But here we go. That is a tough break. The Castle offense took advantage of Carl Hill's ability that time and played off of Carl and froze up the entire North defense. And Roop just had the red carpet laid out for him to the end zone. That's one of the penalties where that's just really a shame that it's committed, because Roop was on his way regardless.
This becomes 2nd and 26 to the air. Inside the 5. On and around. Touchdown. Out of nowhere. It found the hands of Zach Lair. And his 3rd reception of 1999 is his biggest. Wow.
When Roop gets the 21-yard completion for that score, and that ball was knocked. I think that was Dixon back there, and Kelmaine even went up to knock it down. You saw the swing motion of his hand to knock it down, and somehow that ball stayed up in the air. And Lair was there to make the reception and just was able to waltz into the end zone. So that's a bizarre reception that time. And Lair there to take advantage.
Here's Marshall's ship. Up the middle. You betcha. The extra point is good. And now the Huskies must do. Or will we go into double overtime?
Well, you have to match it. Then the decision comes down. When you get the ball in the end zone, do you go ahead and go for 2 for the win on the road?
Well, guess what? Mike Wilson's done that before, but he's got to score first.
You got to get that ball in the end zone against this red zone night defense. But, oh, I tell you, I think Bushrod, at first he thought he might have an interception. Then he thought, well, I knocked this ball down, and it's 4th and 20 for him. And, you know, he did the right thing. His arm was even in the motion to knock that ball down, and it just tipped up and fell right into the arms of Lair. And well, the Huskies had some good breaks in the 4th, and now it's just been a tough year break-wise for the Huskies. But now they have the ball and some control here.
Here is Dorenzo Bushrod, and he goes to the 6.
Think Dorenzo is strong. Think he has some legs on him. That's one of the biggest lines in town that he took forward for about 4. He's got some horses in front of him, though, too. You know, offensively for the Huskies, they go about 237 per man, matching up against the 242-pound average of the Knight front line. So a pretty even match when the Huskies have the ball.
2nd and 6. They've got to get in here, or Castle goes to 5-0. The reverse. This is Ragland. And Ragland sneaks inside the 5, taken out around the 3.
Well, that's the second time that I've been lost on who had the ball. That was some great execution by the Huskies that time. The previous was when Brandon Roop kept it on his keeper, which was called back on a hold. But we've seen some great execution here in this overtime by both of these football teams.
And they spot the ball on the 4th. So 3rd and goal from the 4. 28-21 Castle. We are in overtime.
This is about the spot they ran the option to that tight side. There it is again.
And Bushrod, that's a loose football. And that is the football game. The Castle Knights go to 5-0.
That's a heartbreaker if you're in green, a heart stopper if you're in blue and gold. What a ball game that was. And it's amazing the breaks that they're getting, if the Huskies are, but boy, the Knights in a well-fought battle take this one in overtime.
We're back with the post game, and we come back with Sports Extra. That's coming up next.
God bless Mother Nature. God bless me. Staring at the altar, down on my knees, and I can't wait to crawl out of my shell. Father, can you help me with the choice I've made?